Will we ever get back to the way that we used to work? No, I definitely don't think so. There will definitely be a way where people are still working remotely. So they might not come back to the office every day. There might be 2 or 3 days a week in the office, and you might need to consider which day that you should go to the office. So let's have a look on how we are working. So, how can we navigate the world of hybrid? Well, we need to consider how to install the meeting rooms, but we also need to consider what kind of equipment that we should provide for our employees that sits remotely. So there is no doubt that we did see a huge change during the pandemic. People tried or were forced into work in a different way. So we did see a lot of changes of remote collaborators that increased quite a lot. And of course, we also saw like a dip into the ones that were working in the office all the time. So, how did we actually work and how did we combine the work that we did at home? Well, early pandemic, most people they missed really the table where they could stand up and work during the day. Some took the iron board and make sure that they could actually stand up a few hours of the day. And then we kind of looked into saying we might not be able to work all the day on that iron board. We need to find a better way that we could work, which meant that most of the times it was like during the day we sat at the table, and then maybe during the night the same table was then the dinner table. So what I tend to call the work-life balance is more about how can we make this work instead of just working from home. So the thing is now that we need to look into post-pandemic. How can we make sure that the people got the right headset? And they might not be willing to work with a headset all day long. So we maybe also need to consider how should we add additional products that will be able to get them into the right way of working. Maybe get a speaker bar on the top of the screen instead of just a simple headset. Because if you work on a headset like 5-6 hours a day, it might be quite annoying doing that all the day. And then what did we do in the office? Well, early on in the pandemic, pretty much everyone just went out for a quick fix, bought some USB devices, so we were able to have the meetings from those in the office to those sitting at home. But the main issue here on USB devices is that most of the USB devices out there are not really manageable. So first of all, the IT department was not really sure on which devices that were out there, but also that they didn't have the ability to manage the devices. So for those of you who still look at USB devices as a bring your own device unit, then please be aware of this. Make sure that devices that you are asking for, installing for, are still manageable. And also, if you look at during the pandemic, since we all were so used to work on Teams, it might be that we wanted to have native Teams devices into the meeting rooms. Here we can kind of get an idea if they're working. And if somebody unplugged the device or unplugged a speaker or a microphone, then we will get the notification right away inside of Teams Admin Center. Now we also tend to see that a lot of information that we get from the meeting rooms are actually being used for what kind of sizes of meeting rooms that we should install moving forward. And we also tend to see that a lot of things and frustrations are being on the acoustic side. It might be because we installed smaller devices into the larger meeting rooms, but it might also be that we need to optimize on acoustic as well. So we can do a lot of things on acoustics within the products, but we really need to think about how can we also make it a good experience to be inside that meeting room. So when we look at people and how they think about audio, they basically think that audio is something that goes from my mouth directly to your ears, but it's basically not. It's more about waves that will be pulled around in each meeting room or in each home office, which also is why I got acoustic panels in my home office. So basically we need to think about what kind of products that we can put into the meeting room. There will be reflections no matter which product you would put in there. But if you put up acoustic panels, that would definitely do a huge difference instead of, for instance, just simple glass. So a thumb rule will be if you have a certain amount of square meters inside your meeting rooms, then 25 to 35% of that should be acoustic materials. And a lot of organizations look into, so the easiest place would be then to put all the acoustic materials in the ceiling because that's a quick and easy fix. But if you just put acoustic panels in the ceiling, then we will still have acoustic bouncing around within the walls. So you really need to think of at least 20% of the acoustic panels should be in that area of the walls in the same height as the speaker is. Then looking at the lighting, well, I got the question quite often about how can we make perfect lighting in the meeting room. Some are saying it might be a bit blue, it might be a bit yellow, reddish in the pictures, but basically that's because of the Kelvin degrees on the lighting. So when we look into the older meeting rooms, there was a bit of a soft reddish light because it was very like calm and confident, but what we actually want for the cameras is more like a more bluish color. So if you have a quite old lighting into your meeting rooms, then you should definitely increase that lighting into a higher Kelvin degrees. That will make it so much easier for the camera to work in this environment. And the more light, the better. But I know it might not be possible for you guys to work in a really lightening space, but that's basically what the camera is asking for, is that saying, okay, the better light, the more light, the better it will be. And definitely also looking into the Kelvin degrees. So if you're installing new lighting, then we should go with around 4,500 Kelvin degrees. That would be better. Even better if you go up to 5,500, but that will, in a lot of meeting rooms, that will be too cold, but that would actually be the best. So this is a schematic of my home setup. So I got lighting up there and I got lighting from the side. I do also get light on the back wall. So I will get like a better reflection on my shoulders and on the light of the back wall. Not too much because I still want to have like mostly lighting on my face compared to my back wall. So, and this is a picture of my home setup. My dog is not on the table today, but normally she is. So this is basically lighting from the front, lighting from the side will give me a bit better lighting of my face specifically. I don't have a picture of the back, but I have similar but smaller lights in the back, giving a bit light to the back as well. So simple life hacks you could do in the office. Basically, this is what I see quite a lot, is that people have the screen in the end of the table. This is how we used to work. This is how we used to set up meeting rooms. But if you look at it from the remote perspective, we really need to consider this again, because it's so difficult to look at people when you sit remotely and get a good picture view of all the participants in the meeting room. So simple changing the meeting room would make it such a better experience for those who sit remotely. And also I experienced by myself that when I turn the table like this, I tend to work and talk with the people remotely instead of just the remote participants being a part of the meeting. So this will be a really simple life hack, just to turn the table. That would make it so much better experience when you sit remotely. Which also means that when you look at Microsoft Front Row, which is still, and thanks Jimmy, just the layout, we will still get one frame for each person that sits remotely. But if you're in the meeting room still with the table in this direction, they will still only get one frame. But then look at the things that is part of IntelliFrame, where we can kind of frame the entire group, then designate each person into a single frame. That would make it a so much better experience, because then we will actually drag the people forward into the front row experience, but still only have one frame. Looking a bit ahead with Microsoft and then the ability to do IntelliFrame with multi-stream, we have the products today that will then be able to do a group framing, do an individual video framing, and then take each person and send that to Microsoft Front Row. So this will be the future experience of Microsoft Front Row, where we get each person from the same room into each individual video frame, and then finally being able to eliminate the distractions in the background, so we kind of feel like we are working in the same space. So basically, this is what we are getting in the future of Microsoft Front Row, and I definitely think that this would be a great experience in maybe not all of the rooms, but especially in the rooms where you really collaborate with each other and you want to have that experience of working close to each other. So, simple walkthrough of a few things about acoustic, lighting, and then also the layout of Front Row. Moving forward, this would be the experience of Microsoft Front Row. But if you look at how we work today, we really need to consider acoustic as the first thing, lighting as the second one. But also when you think about acoustic, make sure that the employees get the right equipment to be able to do a good meeting experience. So basically what I'm saying is that the Teams meetings will never get better than the one who joins with the worst audio. So make sure that people in your organization get good audio. Thanks for watching. See you out there. Bye.